For the past 2 weeks, the Saturday Night Truck Series has been going big time in terms of where we've raced. Last week, of course, the Pocono Raceway where Alec Daffin got his first win of the season, and now the only other oval on the track, well, Talladega, the only of the season, bigger than Pocono. 2.66 miles for 80 laps of racing tonight. This is the Talladega 213, and we've got ourselves qualifying on the move with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the chart. Great to have you all watching live on FTN for tonight's presentation of all the action here. It's great to have you all here as I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, and as it stands, fastest man on the chart, it's going to be Scott Erickson, number 50 machine ahead by 22 thousandths of a second. Joel Brooks is now going to be 8th as he's one of the few drivers still on the track. There are still many drivers coming on as we speak, and they're heading onto the track to get those 2 time laps settled in. Austin Runkle and is going to be one of the few guys coming in for the first time this season. The return of a driver such as Chris Tripp from last season. Number 90 machine shoots it up to second on the board, but Jordan Coots is going to see himself fade back. It's going to be Vinny Tigner, another rival in the championship hunt, who goes up to the pole position, and he's going to be the final driver currently on the track. Number 12 machine is the only driver sitting on the inside of the racing circuit, and it looks like now he'll be off of the track as we wait for qualifying to conclude. 9 drivers have taken the time to this point. Austin Runkle, Tommy Osborne, Jordan Kuntz, and Jordan Nelson. It looks like James Nelson with Curtis Sabarin have not gone out on the track. So with a minute to spare, timing and scoring showing us there's no action on the circuit to this point. Talladega is quiet, and a majority of the field has come and went in terms of getting their hot laps in. It looks like only 1 lap of fast times tonight, so drivers didn't have as much to work with overall, but they made the best of it, and now we know who's going to be starting up in front and who's going to have to work their way from the back of the field here in Alabama. And you can see now, track empty, the fans still crowding the grandstands, so how's about we find out what's going on and who will be starting where in the starting grid for tonight's event. Without further ado, this is the starting grid for the Talladega 213, the final race of the regular season, and everything is on the line for a driver who wants to make it in to the playoffs here in the 5th season of the Saturday Night Truck Series. It's going to be Vinny Tigner starting there, position number 1 with a 55.96, and he'll have himself up ahead of Chris Tripp, 1-2 for the veterans first row. Vinny's going to be there inside of row number 1 with Chris Tripp on the outside in his number 90. Then from there, Scott Erickson is going to be third to round out the podium, 55.92 for Erickson as he puts himself inside the top 3 qualifying for the first time this season. It's going to be position number 4 held by Henry Kaloff, 56.014 for him, and it's going to be from there out position number 5 and Jackson Pelt, and it's going to be then rounding out of the top 5 inside of row number 3 with a 56.031, and then from there on it's going to be Kenneth Gurrell, 6th place, with a 57 being there with a 56.086. First time this season, we're going to see Jordan Strode on the number 11 machine, and tonight he'll be there inside of row number 4 on his debut. 56.184 for the driver of that number 11, and Michael Deitch will round out the grade 8, last of which to be in a full row of timed laps. 56.262 puts him just ahead of Joel Brooks, and he'll be the final driver to put a time lap in. 9th place, 56.382 for the number 15 machine. Jordan Kuntz has been the hottest driver all season long, rounds out the top 10. No time lap, he'll let the iRating take care of it for him and put himself ahead of the rest of the drivers who opted not to set a flyer down. It'll be William Schmidt, position number 11, and Sam Benson then in 12th. 79 machine has the advantage over Benson in number 88, and then from there you're going to be James Nelson, position number 13, in his number 77. We'll see Curtis Sabarin in the 54 tonight. He'll be 14th on the running order and round out the top 15 inside of row number 8. It'll be the number 55 of Tommy Osborne, still looking for a successful run on the plate track, trying to get it done even better than Daytona. Rounding out the total of 17 drivers registered, we'll skip to Austin Runkle as he will be the 17th registered, not counting our race control. Number 4 machine will round out your starting grid here in Talladega. This is the Talladega 213, and now with the field set in Alabama, it's time to find out what's going on here in warm-up. Drivers are still getting prepared, setting those final laps before the racing gets on its way. As it stands, 2 minutes and 57 seconds left, and it's going to be Scott Erickson once again up to the top of the charts, this time in second practice. He's got a bit of a group with them here. You're going to see the number 55 machine of Tommy Osborne with Scott Erickson, also Curtis Sabarin, all the same, all together, and they'll be driving through the JBL crew. 1 and 2, Shell, Pennzoil, Toyota Tundra going to be there in third. Small packs already forming, and even though we don't have the biggest of card counts, it is going to be consistent with having over 15 week after week, so we should not have any issue in terms of getting a pack rolling. Daytona was fantastic, and for those who did not watch, we were able to go over 80 laps green flag racing. Only had one caution end of the race to finish it all off, but otherwise very calm, very clean, and very strategic racing that got us to the end. A fuel-saving overtime. Davis Lewis came home with his first and only win of the season, and his teammate Lane Graves pushed him there first and second for B3 Designs. Now, they've all not been able to make a full-time campaign this season. Graves, a former series champion, knows what it takes to get it done overall, but otherwise, besides his one win the week after, has not been seen all too often. So now the driver's getting prepared for another opportunity. Some of the juggernauts this season are not racing. Alec Daffin, after winning at Pocono, will not be here tonight. He knows he's locked into the playoffs, so tonight is not a worry. Won't be at the sim, so it's going to be a lot of drivers who know that their chance hangs in the balance of this race, fighting for it. A lot of new names, new faces to the front of the field, and we got one driver, of course, number 55 machine, leading the charts. One of you are in the chat right now, Forza MXB. How can I join this? Well, it's pretty simple. Description of our streams has every Discord link you're looking for. The official FTN Discord, and inside of that Discord or inside our descriptions, every series that we broadcast. So the Saturday Night Truck Series, their Discord link is there in the description. You got to join there, have an iRacing membership, and you'll be good to go. I think they allow to every single, of course, driver that has that application process. They'll be allowed to go in, drive in the series, and you should be able to do so as long as you meet the minimum safety and I-rating requirements designated by the league. So if you want to join, Discord links are in the description for every series we broadcast on FTN and the official FTN Discord link. Now, of course, there are some requirements, age requirement, I-rating, and safety rating, but they're all basic limits or basic minimums, shall we say, to make sure that someone under those does not race. All good for the drivers who have come tonight. They've been able to register secure, and they'll be good to go for the rest of the season. If you want to join the fun, Discord links will be in every FTN broadcast description, no matter what race we've got. Tonight, of course, the SNT League has been running for over 2 years now. First as a stock car racing league, now as a Saturday Night Truck Series, having their 5th season of action. A lot of veteran drivers, but tonight it might not be the veterans controlling. We're looking to see Tommy Osborne, the fastest man here in second practice, try to go for his first race win. And of those in your second practice, their top 6 have not ever won in this league. So a lot of new faces looking to get it up in front tonight in Talladega. 80 laps of racing tonight, and now the iRacing official pace car are going to be on your screen. Chris Tripp, Vinny Tigner are going to be the veterans that lead the field, as they'll be on the front row here tonight. You'll see now Chris Tripp going to be right beside the empty space for pole position. But as Vinny Tigner loads in, he'll be set to start the field as the control car for tonight's race. You'll see a lot of drivers still joining in as we speak. The GM Racing number 90 machine, haven't seen all too much of him this season, but this number 90 having a lot of success the season prior. Has not been able to get it done this season, of course, limited appearances, but now this could be a chance to get this team on the roll and maybe make something of the final few races. Now, not going to be eligible for the playoffs, did not make enough of the regular season to point his way in or even a win his way in even when he gets it done tonight, but it still could be a success for this number 90 and Chris Tripp. Keep an eye out for him as the night goes on. He's still waiting on Vinny Tigner, Jordan Strode, Joel Brooks, William Schmidt, and Austin Runkle to make up the grid, and when they're all set, we'll be good to go for the rest of the way. Drivers are still going to be loading their equipment in, and it looks like now Vinny Tigner, one of the few drivers we're waiting on at the head of the field. The heart of your pack has already been put into place. Vinny Tigner is there now, and it looks like in just a few moments, we'll be set to grab a gear and get racing from Talladega. Now, something we don't see all too often at Talladega races that is sure to come into play tonight. fuel strategy and tire strategy. Now, a bit less so on the tires, but fuel strategy was a big at Daytona. 80 laps there, and we saw multiple green flag runs down a pit road. Not a lot of wrecking, very little in all honesty, and we only had one caution to finish off the race. So that's the expectation tonight. Drivers are hoping to keep it green from start to finish. Maybe go a bit more than what we saw at Daytona, because we were not able to finish that race with a green flag run. Here, though, there's still an opportunity. And as drivers are now going to get it out of neutral and push it into the first gear, we'll begin our pacing, and it will be time to find out who's got what it takes in the Talladega 213. And now with the drivers all on the move from the front of the field all the way down to the back, everyone has a fair chance to get the race victory. It's not necessarily equal. A lot of drivers having different levels of experience here at Talladega, different abilities in the car or the truck tonight. So we don't say it's going to be an equal shot, but everyone, if they are able to hang with the draft, will be in there when it matters the most. You got to stay with that pack until the final few laps, then go for gold. So if you can manage to run with the field, not get too risky, and hang on until it matters the most important laps of the race being the final few, especially the 80th and last lap. If we don't go into overtime, you'll be set to have a chance at the very least at winning here at one of the biggest tracks in oval racing. Doesn't matter if we're talking about America, doesn't matter if we're talking about stock car racing. 2.66 miles here in Talladega, one of the biggest ovals with the highest of speeds. You don't let off the gas pedal if you're up in front leading the race. There might be some drivers letting back and forth on the throttle, but overall, it's high speeds of over 175 miles an hour every lap. All 80 laps are set to see some high speeds no matter where we are on the circuit. And the front stretch, well, the start-finish line pushed back. I'm not going to be in the middle of the tri-oval. Instead, it'll be just after your tri-oval, so you've got to have momentum out of the tri-oval because it's almost like a corner. Quite a lot of banking there, too. One of the highest bank circuits all throughout, over 30 degrees of banking. Turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4 alike, and just over 15 through our front straightaway, and that means that you've got to be going through these corners, understanding the lines, understanding the drivers around you. It's a big game of connections. If you can find friends and keep them, you'll be in for a great race at this track. Avoid the big one, keep it together, find those connections, and eventually fight on that last lap to get into victory lane. 80 laps of racing set to start tonight with league owner Vinny Tigner leading the way. Down low, they'll go through the Geico restart zone with Tigner out in front. Control cars on the move. We're green for the Talladega SuperSpeedway. This is race 7 and the regular season finale. At the line, going to be new race leader Henry Kaloff to take the first lap, number 35, up at the top of the board. Great to have our chat room coming alive. Forza MXB, New George XCI, thank y'all for stopping by. Hoping to have a great race here in Talladega. Now, we've seen a fantastic regular season to this point. A lot of clean, green racing. We expect nothing less from this field, who have been so great at keeping it up in front without any issues all throughout the tour. Been a very calm and collected run from the first race at Daytona all the way to today. I think we are under 25 total cautions on the season. That's how good this field has been at managing how they drive. It's not aggression every lap. You don't want to risk it each and every time you're on the track. There are some laps, some situations that matter more than others, and as a driver you have to come to understand that if you want to succeed. Now, we've seen a lot of great management of that sort of racecraft and understanding as the season's gone on, and already double file up in front with with that number 35 of Henry Kaloff up ahead. Jordan Kuntz and the Shaw Racing Fine Machine going to be right down low, and your defending champion looking to go down to the bottom side and take the lead with a veteran Chris Tripp right there on the bottom two. And 15 drivers going to take to the start of the green flag tonight, so it looks like 2 drivers not going to be able to take the very beginning laps of this race. The rest of the field gets on the way, one big pack forming. Then you'll see behind William Schmidt, Nelson, Sabarin, and Osborne, they're going to be fading back just a bit more. Some drivers already trying to get themselves away from the limelight and keep it out of focus. Just make sure you get there till the end. Henry Kaloff doesn't like that idea, not one bit. He wants to keep leading these laps, and at the line for the number 35, Kaloff will lead it with some help from Kenneth Gurrell right there on his back bumper. They'll stay the same, 4 laps out of 80, and so far so good for the front runners, with Shaw Racing once again leading the way as they did in Pocono. So far for Shaw Racing, this season has been as good as it can get. Of course, with the absence of team owner, number 24 machine of Cameron Perez. We haven't seen him all too much in the past season and a half due to some issues outside of the sim. However, his team has been able to flourish as of recent. They've been able to bring on Jordan Kuntz, the defending champion who got it done last season, and number 5 machine has kept that championship winning form with multiple wins on the season to this point. Stadium Scene TV in the chat room, we'd like to thank Stadium Scene for their official partnership with the FTN Live division, bringing all of their content and all of our content together. Check out StadiumScene.com, a great place to go for all of your sports and entertainment on the net. A lot of great content creators there, building up their reputation. Jessica Correll getting in chat too, and she'll be cheering on Kenneth, who's now second in the 57. If you got favorite drivers, favorite teams, let us know. We'll shout you out on the broadcast as they come down the Alabama Gang Super Stretch. It's a super group of drivers, and they've been doing great all season long. Back to our point about Shaw Racing, though. This team has been in full control of the league ever since the green flag dropped at Daytona. They've had some hiccups. They came apart at Charlotte. Were not able to win a big money race, but they have been dominant for the good majority. Road courses, plate tracks, they've had pace there, intermediates, even smaller tracks than that. Doesn't matter where you take this group. Now, they find themselves once again ahead. It's going to be Sam Benson and Jordan Kuntz there, and while Benson's been a bit of a more low-key figure throughout the season, when he comes alive, he's a very good driver, keeping it there. When it comes down to it, very fundamental, keeps it in the position he needs to be, runs his race, and we saw many good runs of that number 88 machine last season. He's another acquisition from Shaw Racing, bringing in the number 88 in absence of Cameron Perez, signing Jordan Kuntz, and keeping the very, very well-known talent of Alec Daffin. Shaw Racing's got their one consistency. Daffin stays, 2 great drivers around him now, and Shaw has been in control all throughout Season 5. Looking further on back, though, you're going to see some drivers who are not with teams making some good runs. Now, you'll see, of course, Jackson Van Pelt's going to be inside the top 5, number 2 machine in his first race here in the league, and this number 2 coming in as one of the many debutants on this tour. Season 5 has seen a lot of great new drivers, talent that is coming in who have not been seen all throughout the entirety of the previous seasons, or maybe haven't even been seen in the opening runs this season. So drivers are still coming in, establishing themselves, building up that reputation, and that's what it means to be a driver here in the Saturday Night Truck Series, building that reputation, making friends, getting that sort of trust with the other drivers around you, and you gotta be able to sort of reel yourself in, understanding the situation you're in, what you have to do to sort of assist the drivers into all common goal. Everyone's going for a win here, but you gotta understand, if you make the wrong moves, you'll end up in the wrong places. Now, a real-world example from tonight, or earlier today, shall we say, Matt Crafton, Nick Sanchez. I'm sure for the viewers who are in the chat room right now, they know entirely what we're talking about. A huge wreck coming in with the final laps at Talladega. Brett Moffitt eventually won that race in his truck return. But the big highlight from tonight seems to be the fight after the racing. Matt Crafton, Nick Sanchez getting bloody. Of course, Sanchez, the one who had the worst of it, and those two drivers getting very upset with each other. Now here, you can't necessarily do that on the sim. These drivers are most often very far apart throughout the United States or elsewhere, but you'll definitely find yourselves in some verbal altercations if you do the wrong things on the racetrack. So understanding how to sort of navigate around how the other drivers feel. It's not always about you on the sim, and in this case, iRacing, unlike many other racing platforms, it's almost entirely online that you're racing. No second chances. You can't reset the race. And here, No faster bears. You can't even reset the truck. And it looks like Beating and Banging will show you they've got to be a bit more careful as they come through the start-finish line. Kenneth Garrell and Henry Kaloff still there as we head to lap number 9 of 80. And lap 9 here in FTN presented to you by our wonderful graphic design partner at Tango Paints. Lap 9 presented to you by the highest quality iRacing paint schemes and liveries on the market for a price you can't beat. $50 for every offer. That's the starting price and trustworthy source of great paint schemes and designs. Hardcore sim racers, hardcore sim racing groups, Maconi Setup Shop, NASCAR drivers such as Ryan Andrew trust Tango Paint for their high quality sim liveries. And if you want to update your sim racing work, of course, with your paint schemes, their works of art, update and refine your sim racing identity with Tango Paints as they present lap 9 to you here live on FTN. We're going to take it to a brief Tango Paints lap 9 promotional break. If you want to find a bit more about the Tango Paints crew, Toll Owen and the entire Tango Paints team bring you this brief promotional break. Once again, check out Tango Paints on Twitter for more information. And as we come back now, 10 laps into the 80, Jordan Coots up in front. We saw some 3 wide battling up to the start-finish line last lap, and all of a sudden, looks like they're going to get a bit more calm at the leading portion of this group. But it's still going to be 3 wide, just slightly, with Henry Kaloff fading back. All of a sudden, the number 35 machine is going to be dropped to the end of the field. And now, drivers are beginning to get a feel of who's going to drive in a specific way and who's not going to drive the way they like it. And Kaloff, of the drivers up there, was getting a bit risky. He wanted to keep it up there by all means, and it looks like the field not too happy with that. They'll drop him to the back of this group, and finding himself now behind the number 11 machine of Jordan Strode. He'll be there with Chris Tripp and William Schmidt. Back in the field, still stacked with talent, but you'll see they're organizing 2 by 2 yet again. So away with the aggression of just a few laps ago, and once again we'll find ourselves with a bit more calm, clean racing. Number 5 of Jordan Coots leading on the bottom side, Kenneth Garrell right there up top, and that's the way it stays. 11 laps in of 80. Coming to the start-finish line all over again. Tri-Oval is busy. Right now, 2 packs have been formed, first of which has 12 drivers going back to Schmidt and the number 79. But then on out, you'll see James Nelson is going to be 13th, Curtis Barron is going to be 14th, and Tommy Osborne is going to be in 15th. So these 3 drivers are going to get away from the field, and now they're pushing each other as hard as they can. A single file, about 6 seconds away from the leading drivers, so they're not going to be with the rest of the field to this point. Brendan Carroll is going to load in. He's 5 laps down, coming onto the track in number 31. So Carroll's night has just begun. Looks like now he's going to be all alone at the back of the field. Brendan right now going to be 16th and last to this point. 12 laps in out of 80, and that's the way they've gone as they come around through the exit of turn 4 yet again. Sam Benson trying to push this 57 of Kenneth Garrell out the way. The Shaw Racing teammates side by side, but not yet side by side up in front. The number 57 of Garrell maintains his position and keeps that battle for the race lead alive. He'll set himself up high, Sam Benson does, to no avail. No help up top, and it looks like the rest of the field sticks with Kenneth, keeping that number 88 machine from keeping the lead or getting even higher in the high groove. Looks like it's going to be Benson fading back big, only to see the number 2 machine go to the high side. And Jackson Van Pelt will go for it up top and bring it with them, number 15 of Joel Brooks. So it looks like even though Kenneth Garrell lost some support, he's still going to be ahead of those who left him. Henry Kaloff gets the advantageous position out of all this and now finds himself on the back bumper. 35 machine back within the top 5, bringing Michael Deitch right there too. Deitch going to be bottom side, holding his line, not doing much else. Bottom groove has not had as much motion because he can't really do much on the low side if you're being crowded from up ahead, or up top that is. Now these 2 lines have been dead even for the most part, but you can see the inside line able to maintain a bit more composure lap after lap, and that composed nature of the bottom groove allows for guys like Michael Deitch to slowly but surely sift up to the top of the running order, because these drivers who have gone to the high side at one point were running down low, and they've attempted to go for a few more places in a different setting. Up top, a bit more momentum going to be carried out of the corners, a bit more distance to be traveled, and and it's a balancing act, and for any driver, you got to understand the pros and cons of the nature that you're dealing with. 14 laps into 80, and Kenneth Garrell truly understands that top side, has been able to defend his way to the top spot up again. It looks like the 57 going to be set to lead this lap if he can just get a bit more off the corner at the line. No dice. Jordan Coots will lead it, but not by all too much. Just thousandths of a second. Separation between most of these drivers is in the thousands, and it looks like it's going to be even closer for guys like Garrell and Jordan Coots at the stripe. Very, very close racing so far. First lap machine of Brendan Carroll going to be one down this time by. Number 10 machine going to fade back big. This will put him 6 laps down as a whole, so not good for this 10 of Brendan Carroll. He does not have any damage. Just joined the race a bit late, and he'll have to find his way into the draft here with William Schmidt. He'll try to get behind the number 79, and that he does. Just like that, the Vid Cub Go Ford F-150 going to be right behind the Big 12 so far. Top dozen remains in this lead pack, going back to William Schmidt, and the leading drivers are still the 57 and the number 5. Henry Kaloff right there with a huge shove gives Garrell the lead. Now the choice is to go down low and abandon the middle groove or stay up here the second lane. For Kenneth, choice is easy. He'll stay in the second groove and let Jordan Coots get the run. Down low with Vinny Tigner, Scott Erickson, and Michael Deitch pushing directly behind. 16 laps in, they're going to stay nose to tail out in front. Talladega 213 has seen great racing to this point, nearly a quarter of the way through with no cautions, and it looks like clean racing is going to stay the norm at these plate tracks. So of all the plate racing we've seen this season, over 100 laps between Daytona and Talladega. So far, only one caution in all of that time. It was the only caution at Daytona that sent us into overtime finish. And tonight, to this point, no cautions on the day. So we've been very clean, remarkably clean at these races at Talladega and Daytona. The plate tracks, both alike in their racing style. And so far, these drivers have been able to master that style of racing. Very little cause for concern or cause for even a caution at all. And that's great to see. Earlier this week, we saw a caution-free race at Talladega. 88 laps in the Integrity Ignite Series. Fantastic racing all throughout and a photo finish all the way. Thomas Bressi able to win for the second time this year at Talladega. Both trips to the track, he came home as the race winner. So surely another fantastic run for the overall 2023 Ignite Series points leader. And he showed us all, and the rest of the field showed us all, we can see green flag racing at Talladega without any concern. Now here, we are expecting multiple pit stops. Some drivers last time we went to Talladega on FTN, which was Monday night, they tried the one-stop strategy. Now, looking at our fuel estimates, that looks to be incredibly unlikely, expecting 2 stops at the very minimum, no matter what, so drivers will have the same pit window, about 30 to 35 laps in. Expect your first stops, then about 65, 70, 75. In that range, it depends on who comes in early and late. We will see another set of stops. It should be a 2 pit stop race no matter what, and 18 laps in, no drivers have come down to pit road save for Brendan Carroll, who missed the start of this race. So it looks like now everyone's going to be up in front on the same strategy. 12 drivers at the head of the field, and it looks like Brendan Carroll now in that pack 2 at Michael Deitch wiggling down low. Deitch is going to be able to save it, keep it on the apron, and run through the grass just a bit. Number 51 machine going to mow the line and keep it up in front. Luckily, he doesn't lose that much time, but definitely it was one of those nerve-wracking moments for a driver in the middle of the pack. And Deitch from just outside the top 5, gonna squirm down low, does not overcorrect, and that's gonna keep us under green. Deitch now gonna be with William Schmidt just behind him. Up in front, Jordan Coots, number 5 machine, up there to lead the way yet again. He's got Kenneth Garrell, Vinny Tigner, and Henry Kaloff, some consistent company right there behind him. And right now, it isn't much else besides the leaders that we got to focus on here. The drafting trades have remained mainly the same. Michael Deitch going to give these guys a scare, but he saves it, and very nicely done for him to keep it there. And overall, these drivers have been in nice formation, lap after lap, racing each other, that's for sure, but understanding the optimal procedure, logging those laps in and not causing too much trouble until it matters the most. Now, we say that there are laps that matter more than others, and that's the case because you can't win the race on lap 20. No matter what happens, it just is not possible. So even if you lead these laps early, you could still have yourself on the record by the end of the day, and you could be in the back of the field right now. You can see a driver like Tommy Osborne, James Nelson, Curtis Sabera not even in frame right now. They're in another pack entirely. If they get an opportunity, who's to say they can't win? It's still possible for them as well, so it is not going to be decided by this 20th lap. It's going to be decided by the 80th and final, even if the final lap ends up being something different. Right now, still very early into the racing, so drivers are going to be trying some things, going a bit high, going a bit low, making those 3 wide moves for a few moments, but nothing all too long term. Aggression is not going to be the norm, at least for the time being, and drivers have to understand that as the race goes on, experimentation has to be replaced with a bit more understanding. You got to firmly understand what you can do, what can't you do. You tried new things early, but by that lap 50 marker, past the halfway point, giving them even more leeway, that's when things have to get a bit more solid and a bit more serious. And right now, 21 laps in, the drivers have done a great job of understanding what the right moves are to make and what aren't. Joel Brooks goes up high, and now the outside line has formed up big. And the question is, can that second group begin to run away? Much more help up top. Sam Benson now going to come in to fill that gap down low. Michael Deitch might just be coming with him too. It looks like Michael will be, and Deitch going to be coming through side by side. It's still going to be Kenneth Garrell with that advantage, but the low side forms back up in immediate response. Looks like 6 drivers up top, 6 drivers down low, and it's going to be a dead even split with William Schmidt also in the mix himself. Schmidt, though, is going to find himself still towing back, not trying to get involved in case there is a wreck, and that's been the way Schmidt has run each and every lap so far. Has chosen not to take a qualifying lap, and he has chosen to stay the back of the main field. Nothing else for this number 79 machine. He's going to be as patient as they come, knowing that these laps could end up ending his race. He does not want to go down a pit road. No fast repairs, so if you do happen to get involved with a major wreck, pit road's all you have, and if they say it's too much damage, you're done, and that's the way it'll go. So Schmidt, knowing this could be a race-winning opportunity, after being so quick at Pocono, he does not want to lose that chance yet again, so there he is, finding himself in 12th, just behind Chris Tripp and the lap machine of Brendan Carroll. Double file up ahead is going to see Kenneth Garrell and Jordan Kuntz leading the way once more. Further on back, side by side, how's about we take a lap on board with this number 51 machine of Michael Deitch. 9th spot as it stands for this number 51 machine. And you see this is inside the cockpit, but not the view we're looking for necessarily. Now you'll see, take it from outside of the windshield, Michael Deitch firmly inside the middle of the field here on the bottom side, chasing down Sam Benson and the number 15 machine of Joel Brooks right there on the top. So far, he finds himself inside the top 10. He runs down to the apron and take a look at what's going on in front of him. Goes even down to the apron for a brief moment through the tri-oval, but opts to come back up on the banking, knowing you can't get all too much speed right there down low. He's got a lot of company that he's used to right in front of him. A veteran for over a season here. Michael Deitch has been here since the beginning of Season 4. Knows what it takes to run up in front when the situation comes into his play. Michael Deitch is able to make those top 10s work even if he doesn't have the pace all throughout the night. Able to really run with attrition in mind. He will not give up unless the job is done. And he's been able to provide this 57 team some great runs, even on nights where they've struggled to have pace. Now tonight, Talladega is not a night to worry about pace, a bit more of a night to worry about what happens around you, wondering if these drivers can keep it clean, keep it together, and give yourself an opportunity till the checkered flag falls. Now Garrell and Jordan Kuntz have been able to hold a steady wheel up ahead, and these two drivers, well, Jordan Kuntz is well known for his ability in this league. Garrell is one of those drivers who's a bit newer, so the veterans might not have a clear understanding of him, and as of recent, coming off a bit of a dry spell with multiple races, losing the entirety of his front end on top of a huge night at Dover, where he was able to putter around the track at about 120 miles an hour at max. Not as much success since that point. Even Pocono, not the night he wanted, but here, leading up in front, now even has another push from Henry Kaloff. He's in a firm standing right now to head home with a top 5 or podium finish. if not a win. Still a ways to go to steal the deal, but Kenneth holds on strong. Second place with Jordan Kuntz right down low, leading him through. First and second often swap back and forth in situations like this, so it's hard to really say who's leading and who is not. When they're side by side for so often and for such a long amount of time, it's almost like they're both leading the way right now. No clear driver who's inherently in first for longer or who's there for a smaller amount of time. As Henry Kaloff right now finds himself now without anyone else helping him behind, and you'll see that Kaloff's got some huge separation to the rest of the outside line, so he's holding on with that side draft up top, and that's the only thing keeping the outside line in motion as Sam Benson now goes for it. Looks like that number 88 machine, learning from what happened last time, is going to try to make it around yet again. 88 machine for Shaw Racing, trying to catch up to his teammate once more, but so far it's been rock solid between Vinny Tigner and Jordan Kuntz, and even Scott Erickson closing that gap again. Looked like Benson almost had a shot to drive it down to the bottom. Wasn't able to make it happen though. Just doesn't have the room, and so far that's been the name of the game. Having that room, having the space to make a pass. If you have it, you've got a clear advantage. Not a lot of drivers finding that space, finding that opportunity, and right now for the drivers that have, they've kept it up there. Jordan Kuntz leads the way with Kenneth Garrell still right beside him. Vinny Tigner, Henry Kaloff, and Scott Erickson make up your top five, and then from there on out you'll see guys such as Joel Brooks, Jackson Van Pelt, Michael Deitch, and Jordan Strode, with a number 11 spot occupied by Chris Tripp and 12th still held by William Schmidt. And for Schmidt, he's playing the strategic game as being in the back of the field, but some of the drivers here aren't going to be going by that same mentality, but still happen to be in the tail end of the pack. Right now for Chris Tripp, well, I'm sure he understands the weight of the situation, coming back and knowing that this could be one of his only shots to get a win of the rest of the season, especially with the playoffs in mind. He's trying to go for that win, and it's like right now maybe settling a bit more complacent on this run, knowing after the first few laps, having a bit more trouble to stick it up in front, why not lay back and do the same thing Schmidt is doing? Not to the same extreme, because we've seen Schmidt is lying back a few tenths of a second. Maybe he would be lying back a bit more if Tripp was right not there, but either way, drivers beginning to either adopt the mentality of laying back single file or still going for it side by side. Two choices, some drivers opting for one way, others going to swing it a bit different, and that's the way it's gone to this point. Jackson Van Pelt, Michael Deitch going to be there. Now the lap machine of Brendan Carroll in the mix too. Right now, no retirees of those who started the race. 15 took the green flag. Brendan Carroll came back on the track 5 laps down. Now he's 6 down, but he's with the lead pack, so not as much to worry about. The number 10 machine is going to be there right with the rest of the field. And taking a look at that top line, Joel Brooks now going to be inside the top 5, and how about that for Joel? Number 15 machine, JBL.com, the JBL crew looking for what could be their first win in their existence, not only in this season. Now they find themselves with one front runner and a few guys there in the middle of the pack, so it is not all said and done for the JBL team, even though a lot of their competition is far ahead of them, because you look further back, Curtis Barron, Tommy Osborne, and James Nelson, they're about 32 seconds down, and they chose to lie back big on that initial start, and that cost them quite a lot, because it looks like that initial start meant more than anything else this race. All of a sudden, 13th, 14th, 15th for the rest of those who are not named. Joel Brooks down to pit road. Brooks has trouble and finds himself on the grass. Toyota Tundra misses his pit stall and misses pit road entirely. And it looks like it'll be even more trouble as the 15 comes down to pit road and finds himself in the grass. No yellow flag flies. Joel Brooks finds himself lying back big, and the yellow flag not going to be called as pit cycles on the way. Van Pelt, Erickson, Garrell, Jordan Strode. It looks like Michael Deitch and Jordan Kuntz there too. And this is the worst it could get for Joel Brooks, hardly limping it into pit road. Take a look up top. We'll get that aerial coverage to find out just what happened here. Instant replay on what's our first incident of the day. It looks like that number 15 machine just was not able to make it into his pit stall. And we'll take a look. Overhead shot going to show you not only missing the pit stall, but missing pit road in its entirety. So as we take a look back right now, you'll see him go through, tagged by Vinny Tigner, and he goes sliding as a result. So that's going to be a very tough call to make. Number 15 out of control, sliding into pit road, and he had to stop it there. So we'll see. Looks like the call is to give him his penalty, but that's a heartbreaker because that number 15 machine had no clue what was going to happen. Tried to merge down low. We'll take a look from the deck lid and see whether or not he's at fault. And if anything, that will be a very late merge. We come back in on that initial shot right before the spin, and Joel Brooks is going to lose everything on this race so far. One lap down, he serves a major penalty, ends up on pit road for a total of 1 minute and 26 seconds. And now he'll be back on the way here with Curtis Sabarin leading this race. The JBL crew up in front, and now the race leader. So all of a sudden, tables have turned. The number 54 is the man out in front, advantageous. You'll see James Nelson and Tommy Osborne there too. 1, 2, 3 for the JBL trio here. Sam Benson now going to be scored in fourth, and he's got Vinny Tigner, Henry Kaloff, and Jordan Kuntz right there too. So all of a sudden, things are changing. New drivers up ahead, and we've got ourselves a single file crew coming right off pit road. Most drivers have at least made one pit stop on the day. Now it looks like going back to Michael Deitch. He'll be far out of the pack. Jordan Strode might have that issue too with Kenneth Garrell and Jackson Van Pelt. Looks like the number 11 machine will come down to pit road again. So a botched pit stop for the number 11 for JBL, and the 15 getting punted right into pit road. So troubles for JBL, and that team might not be able to keep it up in front much longer. Differences in the field are going to see our final run down to pit road. Kenneth Garrell, Jackson Van Pelt, they're going to be alone right now. Looks like Scott Erickson will be the final driver who's got a chance at connecting, but he's far away from Chris Tripp here. Tripp now up with the front runners. It's going to be Sam Benson, Chris Tripp, Henry Kaloff, Vinny Tigner, William Schmidt, and Jordan Kuntz. 32 laps into 80. Those are your drivers up in front in the Talladega 213. And your leading group very small here. It looks like once again you'll see the 54, the 77, and the number 55 all fade back to the bottom of the leading group, which is the lead lap right now. Only two drivers off the lead lap. Those are Joel Brooks and Brendan Carroll respectively. 33 out of 80 so far. Looks like the Shaw Racing number 5 is in another great spot for another race win. And Shaw Racing looking to go back to back with two different drivers. It was Alec Daffin at Pocono, and tonight it could be the number 5 of Jordan Kuntz here in Talladega. But don't slouch on this number 79 of William Schmidt. He is no slouch. I don't think he's going to be out of this one very early. He knows what it takes to complete a long race up there competitively, and Schmidt right now finds himself in the runner-up spot for SKS Racing. It looks like now very little trouble for him, holding it ahead of Vinny Tigner, Henry Kaloff, and Sam Benson too. SKS Motorsports comprising of William Schmidt, Andrew Schulte, and Cooper Glick. Now tonight, one of the two S's in that name, they're here and they're looking to go at it up in front of the field. Teammates might not be there for Schmidt, but he has not seemed to need them all season long. One of the better independent drivers in this league, even though he does have a team, doesn't have that same inside support as he keeps himself now with a small pack up in front. It's only a total now of 6 drivers in the main group as they fly by Brendan Carroll. You're going to be another driver put further down on the order. 8 laps down for Brendan Carroll after a slow pit stop for the number 31. He looks to have missed his pit stall as well. Still, he's going to keep himself far out of contention either way. Michael Deitch now going to be in jeopardy of going 1 lap down. As they come by, the leading pack will put him 1 down easily. No momentum up top, so Deitch stays out of the driver's way. Now 14th off of the lead lap. And many drivers going to be in jeopardy of going 1 lap down in this run. You'll see the 13 machine of Jordan Strode is going to be there. It's Tommy Osborne, James Nelson, Curtis Sabarin, all there too. So we're going to be in jeopardy of only seeing 9 drivers on the lead lap by the time things are done and done with this pit run, let alone the race. So it looks like drivers, for the most part, having some trouble. Multiple drivers going to be missing that pit stop entirely, being botched, entries being missed, contact on the way in, and if you lose lose all that time, it will compound and go even further as the race goes on. Because not only here do you miss the pit stall, miss the pit stop, what have you, you also don't have the same level of draft, and your speeds are going to be substantially lower. For Michael Deitch, he's now going about 184 miles an hour, but he's not on his own. 180 some miles an hour, no matter where he is on the track now. But for Joel Brooks, who is on his own and one lap down to 167 miles an hour. That might not sound slow. It's a huge difference compared to most other tracks, but here, 15 miles an hour, it is that much more. So looks like 167 just won't cut it, and the number 15 of Joel Brooks will have to be picked back up by the leaders as he finds himself now a lap and a half down, with Jordan Kuntz and William Schmidt maintaining first and second. 36 laps in, out of 80. Schmidt going to be right behind the number 5 machine. Let's take a look on board with Schmidt as he finds himself runner-up so far in the Talladega 213. 37 laps in, watching here with William Schmidt. He finds himself on the back bumper of Jordan Kuntz, and right now these drivers settling in for another long run. A very small group up ahead now of only 6 drivers in this main pack, and that's usually what happens when drivers are separated by pit stops. Some drivers are proficient in making their way in, getting down a pit road, making that perfect stop. Some drivers struggling a bit more. For our race leader, Jordan Kuntz, he had the fastest pit stop of any driver in the field, clocking in a 36.2 second pit stop. That one is a rapid ahead of William Schmidt and Vinny Tigner, who both had 36.5 second times respectively. Those two very fast as well, but overall Jordan Kuntz had the jump, and it's exactly what he needed to get back in front, gain that time, and get to the lead yet again. Slowest pit stop of those inside the Big Six right now goes to Chris Tripp, 37.4 seconds for Tripp as he came in, and the spread is only 1 second. That's how good these drivers are, just over 1 second, and compared to the rest of the field where we see pit stops in excess of 38 seconds, in excess of 39 seconds, those seconds, they add up. A 3-second difference on pit road, if it was only 2 drivers, would be the difference between having that lead draft and being on your own as a whole. So you cannot afford to lose 2 or 3 seconds on pit road. It might not sound like a lot, but if 2 or 3 seconds impact you each and every lap, you're losing about a lap every 15 laps. Of course, that's a lap down per 15, and you just can't afford that 39 laps in out of 40. Now, it looks like it's going to be 40 on the first half, of course, 39 out of 40, one half. Then from there, we have 80 full to complete it. This first half have gone without any cautions as well, and it looks like we're continuing to have that momentum from Daytona. We have no issues at Daytona, save for our only caution of the day. Very clean racing, everyone up in front, keeping it to themselves. Respect on the racing circuit, that's what defined our season opener, and that is what has defined this entire season. Very few racing incidents, very minor incidents, if so, nothing outlandish, nothing major. And this has been one of the cleanest racing seasons in this league's existence. Season 5 bringing us some high-quality talent all throughout the pack of veterans and rookies alike. And we've now found a clash of those who are brand new and those who are here to stay that much longer. We'll see defending champion Jordan Kuntz leads him down 40 laps in, and it'll be William Schmidt then in second, Vinny Tigner in third, Henry Kaloff fourth, and Sam Benson position number 4. It looks like now it's going to be Benson drop down to 5th as Kaloff gets right by. Just like that, you'll see Chris Tripp is going to be the final man in this pack, was on the lead lap. Michael Deitch and the number 31 machine of Brendan Carroll are both there, but they are not currently running with the leaders. They are running off of the lead lap, so they're just hoping to hang on, waiting for a caution if there's any, and they'll have to get those laps back in due time. Now, Michael Deitch is only 1 lap down, and he's in a great position to keep it that way because he's right behind the leaders and does not have to worry about speed or the draft. at all. Now, this is a 4-car pack that's just ahead of the leaders, and right now they're working with each other to keep it up in front on the lead lap for the most part, but some wiggling back and forth, and the JBL drivers knocking into each other. Number 11 machine of Jordan Strode goes way back down, and it looks like now the JBL drivers hitting each other back and forth, a bit of beating and banging, and James Nelson stays right there in the middle of it. 54 machine of Curtis Sabarin leads this team. Now it'll be Tommy Osborne, who's the third in the pack, and it looks like indeed that number 11 machine of Jordan Strode going to be sent back even further, with Joel Brooks 1 lap down right there too. Luckily, nothing else comes of it. But 41 laps in, some trouble in the back of the field as they now come with only 40 laps to go. Half of this race ran without any cautions, and so far on the season, 125 super speedway laps, 1 yellow flag. It's a tremendous achievement for this league to keep it that way. It's been only 1 caution at all our super speedway trips. Not bad at all, as the number 5 of Jordan Kuntz is there in first, still leading William Schmidt and keeping Vinny Tigner right behind. Now, this pit run has only gone for about 13 laps here, so we're expecting to see drivers come in indeed about 15 laps at the most. Not big pit runs tonight. Of course, drivers trying to manage it and split the race into thirds, so you don't want to stretch this one out too far and risk losing a fuel. You don't want to come in too early and have to pit again. There is another sweet spot in mind, so these drivers up ahead, I would suspect they're all going to come down to pit road at the same time. 6 drivers in race-winning contention. Then from there on out, you go down to Jackson Van Pelt, who's going to be in 7th. Kenneth Garrell's then going to be in 8th, with Scott Erickson in 9th, and then 46 seconds behind your leaders, it's going to be Curtis Sabarin, James Nelson, Tommy Osborne, and Jordan Strode. So it looks like right now 3 distinct groups, fastest of which are your leaders. Number 5, number 79, and Vinny Tigner there in 3rd, and that's the way they go with 38 laps remaining down the Alabama Gang super stretch, still in control with your defending champion up ahead. And as they all come through lap after lap without much trouble, you'll see this is the second group we haven't put much time into covering. Now, there is a reason they're still in contention, better than the other groups. They're 9 seconds out as opposed to being over 45 seconds away, but they're still in a bit of trouble here because they're on the island with nobody else around them. If they were with that second group, then they'd be that much quicker, would not have to face going 1 lap down, and even though they have that track position for now, they are distinctly much slower each and every circuit that they make. This time by 52.79 is going to be recalculated to a 52.8 for Jackson Van Pelt, and that is slower than each and every other group on the track, whether it's the lap machines, whether it's those who are for JBL's team, whether it is the leaders. These are the slowest 3 drivers on the track because it's only a 3-car bundle, and you cannot afford to stay that slow each and every time around, losing 10th after 10th after 10th, and those 10ths will add up into seconds, and before long these drivers will be on their own, and as they go down to pit road, you can't afford to make a mistake. You lose more time on pit road, you lose more time on the lead lap, and these drivers might not even be on the lead lap by the time this race ends. If they don't get that saving grace of a yellow flag, don't get a chance to get back up there, they might be out of contention entirely, let alone staying where they are right now. So 15 laps into their pit run, make it 16 this time by. 36 laps to go for the second group as they make it around to the stripe, and it is still consistency up ahead. No major moves being placed. Logging laps with 36 to go. Kuntz, Schmidt, and Tigner. And for these drivers up ahead, they know there's no reason to risk the equipment they have, no risk to hopefully keep themselves in the race. That's the sort of mentality they have going through each and every lap. 36 laps to go, coming down to 35, and you know, when you've gotten through this point, halfway out of the mines, you've gotten through that first 40 lap segment, only 1 more pit stop, and for these drivers who are up ahead, they did the best in the green flag cycle. Some drivers having trouble, some drivers making contact, others having themselves slow on pit road, just don't have the finesse in and out. If you are up here, this is the elite group that has has themselves in the best position to go all the way. Almost entirely the top 5 is guaranteed between these 6 drivers, so if you're here, you're almost entirely good to go for a good finish. No matter what, you just gotta stay up there with one more pit stop in the way. It's 35 laps to go. We're expecting pit stops by around the 20 lap to go marker, and it's good to be up in front with the track position, not having to worry about as much. Fundamentals, that is the key. If you can keep those fundamentals intact, you'll be good to make it to the end of the race and stay up in front. And it looks like right now it's Jordan Kuntz, the defending champion, who continues to lead them around. Who else but this number 5 to lead the rest of the field? Multiple wins on the campaign already, going back to back with Watkins, Glen, and Dover. Since then, not as many upfront finishes, but of course, he's still one of the best drivers in this league regardless. Of course, racing with Alec Daffin for the win at Pocono, second place there to rebound from a dismal Charlotte event for the Shaw Racing team. And now, as he's locked in as the top seed to our playoff system, he is certainly one of the drivers to watch out for with 34 laps to go, heading down to 33. This race doesn't matter all too much for Jordan Kuntz, but if he wants another win to boost that momentum, why not get the here and now, knowing what's on the line? A victory would be fantastic. And even though he would not be directly affected, it's the drivers who are further out in the point standings who are looking for tonight as their best opportunity. Drivers like Kenneth Gurrell, Scott Erickson, someone else in the front of the field like Henry Kaloff, maybe even Sam Benson here. These drivers are all going to be affected by how the race goes. Now, points are going to be tabulated, and we'll find out who officially makes it in. But we know for certain your race winners would be locked in if we go with the system we currently have. Of course, being Jordan Kuntz, Alec Daffin. Then from there, you're also going to see the driver, the number 99 machine, of course, not here tonight, but those who are up in front, if you've been here all night long, all season long, you're most likely good to go. Full-time competitors getting the best opportunity to go chase a championship, and tonight, of course, these drivers mostly are those who are coming in for a part-time tour. We don't see guys like Alec Daffin, Alexander Russell, we don't see drivers like JD Laird in particular, not seeing any of the JDR graphics crew tonight. Austin Hosey's not in the number 4 machine. However, the driver who was slated to be in the number 4 is not racing tonight either, so bit of a difference there. Only one retiree as we come to think of it, and 16 drivers still made it out on the track with 32 laps to go for a driver like Tigner, a driver like William Schmidt, or Sam Benson, Henry Kaloff, too. Full-time drivers who do not have a win. Why not get it done tonight? An easy shot at a race win. You get this one out the way, you compete in the playoffs, and you put yourselves in a much better position to get it through when the going gets tough. Those final races are going to be much more competitive, much more challenging to win. If you can just pull out a perfect final lap, you'll have this race as good as it can get. If you just stay with the pack, finish off that last lap of action, make it through what could be a big wreck at the end of the race, then it's a victory in your back pocket. And that means a lot going into the playoffs. Extra points in a situation like this, where it's a playoff system with eliminations, will make you that much more of a hot commodity. And if you can keep those bonus points with you and also pad them with good finishes, that's even more going in your favor. So with 31 laps to go, this finish could be the first of many for momentum-based drivers. If you're really good with keeping momentum, good finish here will set you up for a good playoff run. Now, we know a lot of the favorite drivers are not going to really need to worry about tonight's race, like Kuntz, Daffin, and the like, who have already gotten multiple victories, or at least getting multiple chances at a victory. They are already considered the drivers to go for in the final round of the championship. For those who are hoping to be sort of a wild card, sort of a black, or rather, not sort of a, let's say it a bit different way, dark horse, shall we say, the black and white Jordan Kuntz machine, course, not a dark horse. He has been completely in control all season long, and his teammates for Shaw Racing with that same paint scheme, they have been lights out, pitch black for most other drivers. But if you can find your way through and make it around the big juggernauts of this league, there's still an opportunity. 30 laps to go as it stands, and you'll see another driver is going to be in the closer frame lap after lap, closer and closer. That's going to be Tommy Osborne in specific. That's the JBL crew coming up on being put one lap down. About 3 seconds or so separating them lap after lap from going one down, so it's as close as it can get without the drivers of the leading group getting that draft. and they're going to have to organize that much more if they want to get away even further. You can see as they come across the start-finish line, not too far behind, Jordan Kuntz and company come through. So with 29 laps to go, it's going to be a bit more difficult as we'll see another group maybe fall one lap down at the hands of Kuntz, Schmidt, and Tigner, who have run oh so well together so far tonight. No signs of being impatient where they are. They're happy to be in this perfect position to go all the way through the rest of the race. Single file, not risking damage, not risking a caution, no fast repairs, so you know that the pit stop is really what could separate this race from being a winning opportunity to sort of losing it and ending up out of contention. Right now, these drivers are sort of running where they need to be, not much else. Hope to stay up there and keep it there till the end, but right now being complacent might just be the best thing to be, as you'll see drivers settling for where they've been all throughout this stint. 23 laps in on this run so far for Jordan Kuntz to make it 24, and he's chasing the drivers who are now 49 seconds back. Even now in particular for Tommy Osborne, 50 seconds behind. So as they come down the Alabama gang super stretch, it is a group in jeopardy. Number 55 machine of Osborne might have to pack it up to the back bumper of that number 11 Jordan Strode. James Nelson there too, Joel Brooks. These drivers are going to have to become that much faster to avoid the wrath of the main group, even if they've been single file all throughout this run, much like that of Kuntz and company. It's those leading drivers who have a bit more command over the racing track, and they've been able to claw down time more and more. Just a little less wobbling back and forth, a little less of an inconsistency every lap around, and that's the difference between running solidly in a pack and running very well, running much above expectations. You'll see how controlling Jordan Kuntz is. Very small variations lap after lap, staying with a steady wheel in comparison to going back and forth and rocking the wheel. Kuntz, Schmidt, and Tigner, they remain mostly steady, and especially down the straightaway, very little movement from that top three. Schmidt and Kuntz stay rock solid as they make it down the Alabama gang super stretch all over again. They're even closer to making that another pass. Might not be for position, but it's important. 54 laps in out of 80. As we do have 27 laps to go, how's about we take a ride on board with Curtis Sabarin right now, 10th place, and he's got the JBL crew right behind him. Let's find out what's going on for this number 54, as he's got his team right there with him, staying on the lead lap and hoping to keep it up there till the next pit cycle. And as we look on board now with the number 54 machine of Curtis Sabarin, you're going to see that now James Nelson finds himself on the bottom side. They're all going to check up immediately, so that's going to be another big loss of momentum, because it looks like they're going to try to keep that number 54 at the head of this pack. But with all that trouble, inconsistencies and going high and low, they all have to back off to keep Curtis up there. And James Nelson, while he might not be happy about it, gets back on the pushing and keeps that 54 with as much speed as he possibly can. 51 seconds down now to your leaders, with Jordan Kuntz coming around once more, and that might have been make or break here, because you can see Jordan Kuntz is roaring down the front straightaway, and he's going at a speed of 182 miles an hour, getting up to 183 as they go to turns 1 and 2 all over again. These minor inconsistencies, differences in pace will decide whether or not a driver or their group stays in the lead lap. Now, right now, the second pack of Jackson Van Pelt, Kenneth Gorell, Scott Erickson in no trouble. But Team JBL in its entirety now is in jeopardy of going one lap down or even one more lap down, because Joel Brooks, as you remember, he had himself an issue on pit road and now finds himself one lap down. Even he is up there in his pack, middle of the 5 drivers. He's going to be the last of which in terms of position. One lap down in 15th, second to last on the track tonight, and he is another driver looking to stay up there with this pack, knowing what's at stake for him, because if he goes 2 laps down, it would be that much harder to fight back. 1 lap down, still attainable, but 2 laps down, you're almost entirely out of luck, especially with the way these drivers have been racing at Talladega. It's been green flag, 57 laps on, and the JBL team once again bobbles at 51.4 seconds back at their worst, and it looks like now 50.9 seconds, so cleaning it up just a bit more, but it still is going to be within the clutches of the leading group with 24 laps remaining. William Schmidt right there, Vinny Tigner going to be third, Henry Kaloff now in fourth, and Sam Benson in fifth. The final stretch is upon the drivers here in the Saturday Night Truck Series. The Talladega 213 has all come down to the final pit run, which is just minutes away. As the laps continue to wind down, 28 laps on the stid, we're expecting to see pit road get busy by the 20 to go signal, and that's when it'll become a challenge of who can really separate themselves from the field. Kuntz, Schmidt, and Tigner 1, 2, 3, and fourth is going to be Henry Kaloff, and Sam Benson then fifth. Sixth is Chris Tripp. Those are the 6 drivers still remaining in contention. If you made it this far, you still got a great shot at the checkered flag. But we still might see some of these drivers fading out of view. With 23 laps to go, though, they're still in frame with the best cameras on the iRacing platform. TrackCams22.com provides high-quality iRacing cameras for tracks and cars alike. Over 100 combinations of content you can use for all your iRacing needs, be it broadcasting or camera work. You can use TrackCams22.com today to elevate your game. Visit TrackCams22.com or Facebook.com// TrackCams for a splash of brand new content. Make way for TrackCams22.com's Crank It Up with 22 laps to go here from Talladega. And coming around now with 19 laps to go, final pit cycle nearly complete, and Jordan Coots once again puts himself at the top of the running order. It's now going to be Jordan Coots leading Vinny Tigner and William Schmidt 1, 2, 3 with that number 79 machine now the final man on the podium. So a bit of changes in the running order, but so far it looks like of the drivers who are in your top 6, they've all come out first through 6th again, but it's even now a smaller separation as you'll see 3 drivers getting away. Your podium now going to be bookended by one of the JBL machines, number 11 machine of Jordan Schroed. So all of a sudden, top 3 gets away that much better. Then there's going to be Chris Tripp, Henry Kaloff, and even further back, Sam Benson. And now they're all coming together yet again, 63 laps in. If you made it this far and you still have a chance, I think it's good to say that it's time to get going. Moves are going to begin being made, and Chris Tripp goes up to the high side now with Henry Kaloff. And drivers beginning to think about those final moments. Tripp going to be pushed up high with the number 35 machine right up top. 18 laps to go and a new race leader for the first time since our second pit run. It's now going to be Chris Tripp at the stripe, barely leading the way. New man up on top. It's going to be Tripp with Henry Kaloff now on the high side there too, trying to make things work in his Chevy Silverado. He's going to bring now Sam Benson in. It looks like the 88 machine with the Ford F-150 equipment is on the high side too. 2 distinct lines developing between the final drivers in contention. Your JBL equipment is now going to be put 1 lap down. They're not going to remain on the lead lap any longer, and it looks like they might not be able to get that draft either, as you'll see the number 11 of Jordan Strode pull further and further away. All of a sudden now your big 6 up ahead. 3 lanes of 2x2 action, led now and controlled by Jordan Coots on the bottom side, and Chris Tripp's right there up top. Still going to be between these 2 drivers with 17 laps remaining as they come around the stripe once more to make it only 16. A sprint to the finish here. Talladega will decide who gets it done. 16 laps to go. No cautions in this race so far, and now in over 150 laps of racing in the super speedways this season, still no yellow flags that have gone past, of course, the lap 50 marker, past the lap 60 marker, only 1 past lap 80, and that's our only caution at Daytona. Nothing this race at Talladega, and it's been another successful, clean event to this point. 65 laps in, and 6 drivers remain in contention, going back now to William Schmidt. And Chris Tripp remains up high as he gets a bit more pushing from Henry Kaloff. Kaloff opts to go down low and finish that teamwork, or shall we say a bit of assistance, not necessarily teamwork, as GM Racing sees the number 90 all alone today. Henry Kaloff, an independent driver, finds himself back inside, and he'll run for his own purposes. 15 to go inside with the leading group. Looks like it's going to be Chris Tripp losing some time with Jordan Strode getting involved in the mix. Number 11 machine still going to run with the best of them, and this JBL 11 now might be bringing the rest of his team up into play as Garrell stays with the team, and it looks like it's going to be Garrell, the final driver with this main pack. He's currently now in 10th, but he'll be fighting for position with Jordan as it's going to be the battle for the 9th place, and Jordan wants to get by Chris Tripp yet again. Goes down low, tries to get that advantage, and looks like Chris Tripp will have to give it to him. Chris is going to slot back in, and it looks like it's going to have a bit more trouble to do so, as he'll have to wait for Kenneth Garrell, as Kenneth once again closes the gap and finds himself now in the back bumper of the leaders. William Schmidt facing some pressure from 2 lap machines with 14 laps to go. All of a sudden, single file yet again, save for Chris Tripp. Chris still remains himself up on the high side, knowing he does not want to give away these spots to lap machines. Nearly gave it away entirely, but opts to stay up high. And as opposed to dropping down low and slotting in, he'll stay up there with no help just yet. Henry Kaloff wiggles just a bit, but does not wiggle high. Stays down low. Ashton G going to be rooting for Henry Kaloff. Kaloff finds himself there inside the 4th position. Sam Benson then 3rd, and Vinny Tigner is then in 2nd. So far with 14 laps to go, not many moves have been made. They were double file just a few laps past, but now it looks like that same single file order has come back into play. But taking a look now now who's at third? It is going to be Sam Benson. And how about this number 88 machine? Benson still trying to check off that first win on the season, and the former driver of the number 12 is there within striking distance of the checkered flag. 13 laps to go, a baker's dozen remains, and it'll be Benson and Jordan Kuntz putting Vinny Tigner in a Shaw Racing sandwich. As I fly through yet again, 13 laps to go, heading down to a dozen next time by. The Talladega 213 has come down to the final stretch, and some side-by-side action in the back of the pack. You'll see Chris Tripp with some assistance now from Kenneth Gurrell. Kenneth opts to go up top and work with this number 90 machine, keeping him in contention. William Schmidt now going to find himself in fifth, right behind the number 35 of Henry Kaloff. Sam Benson third, Vinny Tigner second, and your leader of Jordan Kuntz. At the stripe yet again, 68 laps in, going on to 69. Very nice race so far for every driver as they made it to this point without any incidents on the day. Save for some pit road action, it has been all clean and all green for these drivers who know what's at stake for the end of this race. 12 laps to go, a dozen laps remaining, and Jordan Kuntz is on track to get another win of the season, looking to make it victory number 3. Kuntz is there, up ahead of the field. Vinny Tigner, Sam Benson, Chris Tripp, Henry Kaloff, William Schmidt. Every other driver in this field who are still in contention for the win are looking for their first win on the season. That goes to show the control that Jordan Kuntz and company have had. Alexander Russell, Lane Graves, Davis Lewis, Alec Daffin, the drivers who have won this season, have been able to keep it up front, especially when it means the most. But here at Talladega, you could be up there on that final lap, on that final turn, and you can still get yourself turned out of the way. So even if you put yourself in the perfect position, we could still see a new race winner at the end of the night. Kuntz is holding on for what would be another win in the campaign. Everyone else in this leading group, they're looking for win number 1. It's a huge difference, but Chris Tripp now finds himself up high with Kenneth Gurrell and Henry Kaloff, and it looks like Chris Tripp is now going once again for the race win. Number 90 machine up top, having some assistance right on the high side, and as I come through the start-finish line yet again, it'll be the tri-oval that decides who leads this lap once more. Kuntz does not have enough momentum on the bottom side, so Chris Tripp will lead us down with 10 laps to go. And now momentum playing a factor as they go through the final turn. Chris Tripp has a great send in, and that's what gives him a shot up in front once again. And now we're starting to understand who has that ability to sort of turn it up at the highest gear, get it into another state of mind, and just understand what you have to do, put it into race mode per se. These drivers have to analyze the situation, find out what context they're in, how risky the drivers are going to be around them, how aggressive everyone will get when the final lap falls into play. And with 10 laps to go, so far, everyone keeping it very, very calm. Nothing inherently risky about the way drivers have been going at it so far, even down to the back of the drivers in the lead pack like Schmidt, like Henry Kaloff, even like our lap machines right now, Jordan Strode and Jackson Van Pelt. Only 6 drivers left on the lead lap. Scott Erickson going to give these leaders room. Jackson Van Pelt, he hopes to keep it up there instead. So now there's only 6 drivers in contention. The rest of the field is at least 1 lap down, but nobody's been retired from this race. So even though so many drivers are technically out of the race contention, the win could still go to any driver who registered for this event and made it down to the green flag. 16 drivers spread over the course of 8 laps. 8 laps down is Brendan Carroll. 7 laps down is Joel Brooks. 1 lap down is the following. Now Kenneth Gurrell, Jordan Strode, Jackson Van Pelt, Scott Erickson, James Nelson, Curtis Barron, Tommy Osborne, and Michael Deitch. Most of your field is at least 1 lap down compared to those who are still leading. 8 laps to go. There's still 6 drivers on the lead lap, and they're only separated by 1/4 of a second. At any track, that will be a close margin for the win between 2 drivers, let alone 6, and that's the difference here at a plate track. 8 laps to go, and there's still a multitude of drivers right there with each other. Kuntz and Tripp leading their respective lines. Bottom side held by Jordan. Chris has that high side, and that's the way they been consistently lap after lap in this final run. Chris Tripp merges down to the bottom groove to get that overall race lead. He does not want to have that number 5 of Jordan Kuntz side by side with him. He wants that control, gets it down low, and now Jordan's going to have the number 90 to work with up in front. Kenneth Grell going to box out the rest of the field here. Lap machine number 57 stays on the front of this pack and is side by side at the line with Chris Tripp having full control. 7 laps remaining. All of a sudden, Kenneth Grell beating and banging with the leaders there. A bit of contact back and forth. Luckily, nothing comes of it, but it looked like that lap machine nearly finding himself involved with the field. Coming down the back straightaway, number 90 machine of Chris Tripp almost puts himself in the wall with that Kenneth Grell machinery getting very close to him. Luckily, they both are going to be able to settle it amongst themselves and keep it up there without any trouble. Grell, the lap machine, is going to put himself back slightly on the lead lap. He's fighting for a lead lap finish here. If he gets it ahead of the rest of the pack by the checkered flag, he'll be on the lead lap technically 55 seconds down. So it is still possible to see 7 drivers on the lead lap at the end of the day, but it would be a caution that ends the opportunity. Yellow flag falls for James Nelson. Single truck spin. And we're going to get an instant replay here. James Nelson brings out the caution on a single truck spin. And how about that? Yellow flag will fall back of the field. Yup, 77 spins. Nobody else involved. This is a safety yellow. And we're going to have a short run to the finish here. But man, unbelievable. A yellow flag comes out 75 laps in, and we're luckily not going to go to overtime on this one, but it's going to be about 3 laps at the very most. Nelson brings out the caution, spinning at the end of the race, and I'm not quite sure whether or not there was a chance to get around that. Now, that is the precedent for a caution, but it looks like this situation, back of the field, 1 lap down, so it looks like either way, lap machines bring out the first and only yellow flag. It was a spin, nothing intentional, but it still seems like James Nelson going to be the man who brings out the caution all the same. 75 laps in with Chris Tripp, your race leader. Jordan Kuntz then in second, and Henry Kaloff there in third. 1, 2, 3 for these trucks up ahead. They were not expecting a yellow flag at all, and after 75 green flag laps, we're now under caution for the first time today. And we're looking to have only 1 caution to finish this race off. The big question is who comes down to pit road. It looks like it's going to be the good majority of the field opting not to come down to pit road. William Schmidt comes in either way. Knowing how few drivers are on the lead lap, so does Jordan Kuntz. So it looks like some drivers coming in this time by, most of which stay out on the lead lap. 2 drivers come in, 4 drivers stay out. That's how few are on the lead lap right now. So it's not a big risk to come down to pit road if you want to. Drivers are going to prefer the track position instead, so a bit of a change here. Some drivers running with fresh Goodyear rubber, I'll say. Others are going to try to find out what it takes to hold on with what they've got. 16 laps in to this stint. With 5 laps to go, we're going to bring you a brief iRacing promotional break before we get back to the racing here in Talladega. 5 laps to go, currently led by Chris Tripp, the number 90 machine, and we'll be back before your overtime finish. Hopefully gonna be a short green-white checker naturally, but it could be overtime. That is yet to be determined. 5 laps to go, under caution here from the Talladega 213, and we'll be right back after this brief promotional break, courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com. 'Cause
Coming back now with 5 laps remaining, Chris Tripp leads the way. Derek Cameron chat rooting for the number 79 machine of William Schmidt. Pit road just got busy. Now there's only 6 drivers on the lead lap as it stands. It's going to be up to only a total of 7 here with Jackson Van Pelt. But either way, it's a huge amount of drivers that are 1 lap down that'll be part of this huge race finish. This is going to be settling everything on tonight's table. It's been a lot of green flag racing, 75 laps in total. We went without a caution, 1 single car spin involving James Nelson. That's what's going to bring out the caution this time by, and now it's going to be a 3-lap finish to get it done in the Talladega 213. If you're joining us for the first time tonight live on FTN, I'll be leading you through all the action here in Alabama. David Kreutz producing and commentating this show here on FTN, and it's a tremendous turnout for this league once more when it comes to quality drivers. Every time we've gone to a plate track this season, only 1 caution apiece in over nearly 500 miles of racing, 2 yellow flags. So very impressive stuff for the entirety of this league, and once again they'll get to show us what they've got in a short run. 3 laps to decide this finish. White flag will make the race official, checkers or wreckers. If we do get a caution, we have ourselves 2 attempts on the table to extend the race there on after. So it's going to be overtime finishes still on the table if we have a yellow flag, but if we can make it there to the end of the white flag, or rather to the start of the white flag, then it'll be the checkered flag that ends the race on that lap, no matter what. White flag, if it comes out and we get to it, a race will be over by the time the leader crosses the start-finish line next time around. If not, we can extend this race and go at it once again. 4 laps to go. This time by, it is going to be Chris Tripp there, down low, leading the way. Henry Kaloff going to be second, Vinny Tigner then third, Sam Benson going to be fourth, and William Schmidt is in fifth, with Jordan Kuntz then sixth on the table, and Jackson Van Pelt, the final of the 7 drivers still eligible for the race win. As it come down this time by, iRacing official pace car will drop it in and let the drivers get back to work. Chris Tripp, Henry Kaloff, first and second of the drivers on the lead lap. 6 out of the 7 have not won this season, and they're chasing their first victory on the regular season finale. Green flags out yet again, led by Chris Tripp. 3 laps to go in Talladega. We're back with a final lap dash. And it's going to be a great start up in front. Chris Tripp gets into the race lead. Henry Kaloff then going to be there in second, with Vinny Tigner third and Sam Benson in fourth. Looks like all your drivers on the lead lap get away quite well, save for Jackson Van Pelt. Looks like Van Pelt not going to get the best of starts, is now behind the lap machines, still finding himself then in seventh. So far, the rest of your leading crew gets out to a jump start again, and with 3 laps to go, they're still there with an opportunity to get it done in 2 laps time. 2 laps to go this time around from Talladega, and Chris Tripp's got the advantage. 79 laps in, set to go for 2 more. If the white flag flies and we get to it, then the race will be official no matter what. And it looks like now Chris Tripp still got the advantage, with nobody trying to push him all too hard. Side by side for your leading crew, as you'll see 3 wide there on back. James Nelson involved, Michael Deitch in the mix of it too. Jackson Van Pelt is still behind the lap machines, and he's getting very, very hard opportunities, not easy ones to pass, so he'll be stuck there unless anything happens up with these leaders. Henry Kaloff's got the top spot with the number 35 machine. Kaloff there leads the way and finds himself out in front, double file with 2 remaining. Coming down the front stretch once more, it's going to be Kaloff and Chris Tripp, first and second, inside and outside, as they come down to the white flag. This time by 1 lap to go from Talladega. Henry Kaloff leads, and they're still side by side with no sign of wrecking. Final lap in Talladega, and we got the 35 machine ahead of a wiggling Vinny Tigner. Tigner's going to wiggle just a bit up and down, keeps it straight. Nothing comes of it just yet. Now the question is, who's going to budge and give way on this final dash? Brack straightaway sees Kaloff there leading through, and you're going to see some wiggling with Sam Benson. Benson is shot up high. First driver out of contention is the number 88. Gets back in there, though, and can slot back in with the pack. Chris Tripp, with a front straightaway remaining, wants to avoid the calamity and come through as the race winner in Talladega. Vinny Tigner and Kaloff beating bang to make it 3 wide, and Tigner's got the pull right through the middle. Number 12 machine side by side for a photo finish, and Vinny Tigner will win from Talladega. It's a 5/1000th of a second gap that will be recalculated, and Henry Kaloff gets the win. Official scoring gives it to the 35. Henry Kaloff gets it done. Instant replay will show you it changed at the line for 1,000th. Man, oh man, Kaloff barely posted together. Take a look at this. Front straightaway going to show you. It looked like Tigner had it from the camera view we had at it, but 3 wide at the line. It looked like Tigner had the run. But take a look at this. They beat and bang. Tigner shot down low, and this is where the call is made. The front straightaway a bit longer here in Talladega, and that is why Kaloff gets the shove at the line, and Tigner does not get it. Further calculation goes to show that's the correct call. Man, Henry Kaloff pulls it off. First win in the Saturday Night Truck Series, and it looks like Tigner, who almost had it made, loses it in the final moments. And Henry Kaloff pulls it through for his first career win in the Saturday Night Truck Series. What a way to go through for the 35 machine. A huge shove from Jordan Kuntz, pulling it all together. Kaloff will win. Number 35 machine over Vinny Tigner in second, Jordan Kuntz in third, and William Schmidt position number 4. Chris Tripp rounds out the top 5 with Jackson Von Pelt in 6th, Sam Benson then 7th, and Kenneth Gurrell in 8th. Jordan Strode is going to be 9th with Scott Erickson rounding out the top 10, and then 11th with Michael Deitch, 12th Curtis Sabarin, and 13th Tommy Osborne with James Nelson 14th, Joel Brooks 15th, and Brendan Carroll position number 16. Austin Runkle rounds out the 17 driver field as their race winner prepares to burn down the house in the regular season finale. Walk-off win for Henry Kaloff. And for Henry Kaloff, the celebration is over. The number 35 machine gets it done. We're going to be calling him into our official race broadcast booth because this one was a hell of a show. Henry Kaloff getting it done, and he finds himself as the race winner with Vinny Tigner then second, and a round out in the top 3, Jordan Kuntz getting it done in that third spot. Number 5 machine for Shaw Racing. A lot of your contenders up in front week after week, pulling through for great results, but a first career win, and just like that, Henry Kaloff burns it down, gets it done, and victory lane is his by 5/1000ths of a second. It even was recalculated down to only 4/1000th, an incredibly small margin, and you got it done with the final few moments of the race. Photo finish, first career win. Henry Kaloff, how do you feel getting it done from Talladega?
That was everything I got. I mean, going this race, there's no way I was gonna, I was either gonna wreck going for the winner, or I was gonna win. I can't believe it. Guys like me aren't supposed to do that. Holy cow.
And pulling it through for a first career win in a fantastic finish. 1 caution, strategy, long green flag racing. Very few drivers had a shot by the end of the race. It took the best of the best to get there, and you pulled through for the win. It's gotta be a great feeling getting it done. And here, with that final run, you got a huge shove. So how was it working with these drivers, some veterans, some rookies, to all make it happen?
I mean, with these trucks, you can push a lot aggressive than a lot of other cars. I also want to apologize to the AEA, kind of shove them out of line, but You know, I bet he's upset and all that, which I understand, but no, I mean, like, you know, I don't race with these drivers too much, and every week I'm still getting to learn these drivers, and just very thankful to be, a winner in this league finally.
And pulling it through in the regular season finale, it's a walk-off finish here with this win in mind. Now, final points have not yet been tabulated, but I feel that they're going to look it over, and you might have a shot with the playoffs in mind. We'll see whether or not they opt to go for that strategy. Last season, we saw a bit of a manual sorting of the playoffs. This season, though, great participation all around, and you've been the most of the races, so I feel there's a shot. And with that in mind, if you're in the playoffs, or regardless, how's it going to be chasing victory again in Atlanta?
Yeah, try to minimize the mistakes in all these races. I'm looking at the schedule. I feel like all these tracks definitely fit my style, of course, especially Michigan and Club. Those are probably my best tracks, arguably outside of Pocono. But I feel like we have a good shot winning the championship, and I'm not done yet. Winning, not to brag, but yeah.
And not done yet, this 35 team pulls it through for a first career win. Henry Kaloff getting it done here in the Talladega 213. Any final thoughts to wrap off this event?
Just like to thank everyone that supports me. If no one supported me, I wouldn't be doing this. I want to thank my parents too. Both my parents were watching the whole race, and I can't wait to celebrate this.
And pulling it through in a fantastic photo finish at the line, defying the odds, Henry Kaloff gets it done. Victory lane here in Alabama. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you.
I'll tell you this much, what a win that was for Kaloff. Oh, so close with Vinny Tigner. And for Tigner, gotta be a heartbreaker here. Such a close finish and a photo finish at that frame. Another clean race here in Talladega. The finish, everyone kept it together, and you held on for a second place here in the Talladega 213. How do you feel after this one?
I feel great. That was so much fun. We went green for a long time there, and thought we were going to get it the whole way, but I'll take that 5 laps short, finishing it caution free. But I mean, everybody did a fantastic job. There was a couple close calls. I think I was a part of that on pit entry. Somebody was slow, but I mean, other than that, I can't complain whatsoever. So very happy about this finish. That was a close photo finish, and congrats to Greg on the win. That was awesome.
And the finish between you and Kaloff there at the finish, the number 12 machine so close at the line. And that start-finish line, maybe a bit further pushed back. That's the difference between your victory and his. So with that in mind, this short finish still gave way to a great one with no major wreck until the final 100 feet there. An even chance till the very end. So how was it for you to manage the short run after such a long stint we had beforehand?
I mean, we had a good group of guys that came together on pit road and left together. So I mean, we were separated a little bit, but we all got together, and I knew it was going to come down to, I think it was like 5 or 6 guys that were in that initial group, and we did a flawless job, in my opinion, to just stay intact and work together. And obviously, until that caution came out, and then that all went away. But it gave me a good track position, and gave me a shot at winning. And I do want to thank William Schmidt for helping me, giving me that push there at the end and almost giving me that victory.
And very close on a shot in victory lane. Now the playoffs are coming up here, and you're firmly locked in after a great regular season. And I believe it's going to be Legacy Atlanta right up next. So how's it going to be to continue competing for a shot at the title after tonight?
Just be consistent, run up front. Just limit the mistakes. Obviously, I need to work on certain things, but I mean, I've gotten better, and I think it's going to be a good playoff run, to be honest with you. Good tracks coming up, and but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
And looking forward to another great run. Vinny Tigner, second place of the day here in Talladega. Anyone else you'd like to thank, or anything else you'd like to add after this race?
Well, first off, thank you for broadcasting. Thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. Thanks for, to everybody that, for a clean race. And, looking forward to next week. We do have a throwback weekend at Atlanta. So looking forward to seeing all those good paint schemes out there.
There we have it. Vinny Tigner gets it done. Second place finish here in the Talladega 213. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And Vinny on the move, only one more driver inside your top three tonight. Of course, that would go to Jordan Kuntz, and he barely edges out Schmidt for the final spot on the podium. This number 5 team has been fantastic all throughout the year, and once again pulls home with another podium. How do you feel after this race?
I felt great. Of course, there could have been more on the cards, but for the last few laps before the caution, I needed to go to the bathroom, and I was prioritizing that over the race win. Definitely could have won it tonight, but definitely luck wasn't there with the caution. But overall, good result, good momentum heading into the playoffs.
And the results have continued to be successful for this Shaw Racing group, so no worry about that. But tonight, a long green flag run only to end with a short finish, a dash till the end, so a sprint after an endurance run. How was it managing the two and finding out what went best for that final run after so long under green?
Well, I kind of know what to expect in a short run. It's always going to be chaotic. Damage model now, it's really easy to push someone, so push them really hard. So I was just kind of hoping to maybe be the pusher and not just be third in line. Definitely got held up a bit just being third in line. Could have made something work if Sam went to the outside with me, or if I was maybe a bit more risky and went try the third line there. But definitely not easy managing trying to easily bump someone and not wrecking them whenever there's a four-way tandem on the outside though, but it all worked out in the end.
And all works out for another top 3 finish in the playoffs. You're firmly locked in. Defending champion, you've got a lot to look forward to here, and it looks like that championship form is still in play. Atlanta's up next, and you've been great all season, no matter what track type. Does the intermediate stand a chance at another Shaw Racing win?
Well, I think any track that's left on this season always stands to win, and going to be interesting because it's a very short playoffs, only 4 races until the round of 8, which is the finale. 8 people fight for the championship, so more than normal. Be something different to manage, and hopefully can just win all these remaining 5 races.
And hoping to get the checkered flag once again, only a few thousandths of a second short tonight. Jordan Kuntz pulls it home third on the day. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'd like to say thank you to everybody who watches you for broadcasting. My grandma, she's watching tonight, and we took her out for her birthday today, so happy birthday. And yeah, just great to get a podium and be able to shout her out.
Jordan Kuntz pulls it through for a top 3 finish tonight in the Talladega 213, wrapping up a tremendous regular season in podium fashion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
How about Jordan Kuntz on the move? Your final driver on the podium gets it done in the number 5. It'll be Jordan Kuntz third place on the day, and Vinny Tigner in second. Henry Kaloff winning his first career race in a Saturday Night Truck Series by only a total of 4 thousandths of a second. Tremendous race win for this number 35 crew, and what a way to wrap off another great week live on FTN. Now, we'll be back for a triple header on Monday night with the Schumacher Racing League, the FORL Truck Series, and the Integrity Ignite Series, all coming at you once again here on FTN. We thank you all for watching once more. Now, if you of course, did enjoy tonight's broadcast, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated, and it's what keeps us moving here in the network to keep things fresh and exciting every Saturday night and whenever you watch, no matter what league we're covering. I've been David Kreutz, hosting tonight's event, the Talladega 213, and great to have you all watching with all the immense support in the chat room. If you have a favorite driver, unlimited chat access is given if you subscribe to FTN, and we'd love to have you there supporting your favorite driver all throughout the racing. Now, once again, this has been a presentation of the Saturday Night Truck Series and the Talladega 213 from our studios to your homes. We hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of the Saturday Night Truck Series in their 5th season of competition, and we hope to see you all whenever we're live again on FTN. Thank you all for your immense support, and we hope that you have a great night.